Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to At the Desk with Alfonz Stevens. It's your main man, the voice of many promotions across the state of New Jersey and hopefully everywhere else. Alfonz Stevens, and I'm here with a good friend of mine, somebody I've known for a very, very long time, Mr. Adrian Santos, the Ecuadorian Nightmare. Welcome to the desk, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, I got to ask the basic question that everybody gets asked because a lot of people get into business for a lot of different reasons, but my main question to you is, well, the first question to you is, what made you want to be a wrestler?
It's almost the same story that a lot of people have. Like they say, oh, they watched it when they were young, and then like they just got hooked into it. And funny story, like I said, I'm not a big personal person. Like no one really knows my. This is basically the first interview I've ever done, so this is gonna be crazy. I remember a distinct memory of watching some sort of wrestling when
Mm-hmm.
when I was doing vacation in Ecuador, and I had to be, I want to say, 3 years old, and a very very faded memory of, I want to say, Gold Dust, because like remembering it back now, I was like, who's that guy wearing all gold? And I remember, okay, it's Gold Dust. But then when I officially started watching wrestling was when I was 8 years old. This had to be, because I remember, again, it's crazy how it's watching wrestling and then also somewhat of puberty too, because I was watching right when, remember when The Rock was and Tajiri were in the ring with the whole Diva Search thing?
Oh, this is around 2002, 2003. Okay,
Yeah, this is like, not, yeah, this is like the Diva Search, but when Christy Hemme put that cream pie all over her ass.
I remember that.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious. And then really I started watching around a couple months before Mania 21. That's
Okay,
when I got into it. That's when I was like full into it. And like I was hooked onto it. And I've always like combat sports. I've been in combat sports my whole life. Like when I was 3 years old, I did karate, and then I that ended at age 11. And then I played football a little bit. And then because I had two career paths.
hmm
Either I was going to be a professional wrestler, or I was going to be an MMA fighter, because I did do a bit of MMA training around 17 for a little bit. But then I was like, you know what, let me do this for real. So I decided to do pro wrestling. I've been doing it ever since. Almost
right.
this month is, even around this date is when the first time I got into a professional wrestling for the first time. So it's going to be 10 years I've been in pro wrestling.
Okay, and what made you lean towards wrestling over MMA? Because I know, I know MMA is a completely different world of its own. Um, MMA a bit more barbaric. I mean, the chance of getting hurt is far more serious. But what made you lean towards the wrestling side?
It's really just like almost the superhero sense of it. Of like you're a bigger star than anything. Like if you're an MMA, I mean, looking back at it, back then, oh, you're just a guy that fights. Now it's a more popular sport. It's where guys generate millions and are known around the world. But with pro wrestling, it's more than that. It's bigger than life, as they say. So that's what I want it to be. I want it to be bigger than life. And then if I could do that while also fighting and just doing all that, I figured, all right, that's going to be my goal. That's going to be what I want to do. And that's really the only thing I do know how to do.
Gotcha. Okay, understood. So, I don't want to speak your story for you, but because you and I have traveled, been a lot of places together. We've talked, but you trained at a very infamous place in New York. Talk to us about your training, why you went to that school, who trained you, and some memories of your wrestling training.
Well, I know some people have certain like feelings about that place, but 100%, I am proud to say that I'm a Joel Maximo guy.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Maximo from the SATs just came back with his brothers. He's the one that trained me. Um, it was a funny story how like around 18 or 17, 18, I was going to figure out, I was actually going to go to Orlando, because first it was going to be Orlando because I wanted to like work on cars and stuff. That's going to be like my college thing. And then I realized that was the year that Team 3D opened up their school.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to college, and then I'm gonna train that with them with the Team 3D. But then I figured that wasn't gonna happen, so I was gonna go to NYWC when I turned 18. But then walking around my neighborhood, because the first FSW slash Ludus, because the school was named Ludus, but the company was FSW. They were running their first show ever, or big show, only a couple blocks away from me. And I was walking past my neighborhood, and they had a flyer promoting their show. I was like, cool. This is my first ever indie show. So I was like,
Right.
all right. And I recognized the names on the flyer because in the beginning it was Shane Douglas, Homicide, it was Sammy Callahan. So I was like, all right, this is gonna be an interesting show. So I went there for the first time, saw everybody, saw the SAT, saw guys that I ended up training with, and I was like, I was hooked to it. And then I joined, I want to say like 2, 3 months later. And overall, my whole experience with them is great. I cannot say anything bad about Joel. I know other people can, but I don't care about that. I would say that, yeah, Joel Maximo is the guy. He helped train me. He helped create the monster that you see today when I step into the ring, because I take stuff from him, lucha, strong style, all that.
Okay. And yeah, you have any fond memories or like things learning from Joel Maximo that you enjoy?
I enjoy that right in the beginning, because again, I was only 18 years old, didn't know anything about the insides of the business besides just watching it on TV. He really taught me, and others taught me too that were there, about the ins and outs of the business, about what you got to do, being honest about things, like if you want to do this, you have to do that. You have to, you know, be humble. You have to work hard, and you have to. And I'm grateful because in the beginning, I had my first character, which I'm exposed right now. My first character was named Cholo. He was like some kind of like Mexican slash Ecuadorian mix. I don't know. Again, I was young. I didn't know really about who I wanted to be yet. So I just went
So
with that character.
so they picked the gimmick for you.
Yeah, they picked it because again, back then I had like no creative mind
Right.
yet. Like I didn't know anything about wrestling or anything about that. So they gave me the character. They said this can fit you, and then it did. It did fit me. Where I was that gimmick for around a year and a half, and then when I was in a match with, you remember Hakeem, right? Hakeem Ali, one
Mm-hmm.
half House of
Yep.
Pain.
Yep.
The last Cholo match.
Those are some big boys. They powerful, man.
Oh yeah, I love wrestling with those guys. I love wrestling, especially Hakeem. I mean, because leading up to the second character I had that most people know me of, and that's where I had my my most memorable matches with, was where I had a series of matches with Hakeem, and it was going to end where infamously I lost, and then I was beaten up by another guy named Ian Aldwin, and the plan was to put me through a flaming table. We did not have a table. Well, we had a table, but we had to reserve it for another match. So we had the idea of flaming chairs. I thinking, all right, that's something I've never seen, so let's do it. And in practice, it worked fine. I mean, I didn't go through it, but putting a little bit of lighter fluid on the chair and then just little smack, it was fine. But as wrestling goes, independent wrestling, things always happen. The guy who did it, he tried to open the bottle, but it wasn't working. And we're live. I just say we're live, pal. And it wasn't working. So he had to literally rip the bottle open and dump the whole thing onto the chairs.
No.
Yeah. And the second thing is that there were a bunch of things that happened where, first of all, with lighter fluid. And when it comes to flaming stuff in wrestling, you don't really use lighter fluid. You use something else, so that it could go just one shot. That's it. No,
Yep.
we need lighter fluid. And that thing, I remember seeing it while I was down on the floor. I see him light it, and I see, kid you not, the flames went 2 feet up. And I was like, oh man, I have to go through this. And then he chokeslammed me through him. I had a shirt on, so I was fine. I had
Right.
a shirt and an undershirt on because I knew it was going to happen. But the problem was that the shirt I had on was polyester.
Ooh.
I did not know. I didn't realize it was polyester until it was too late. Where
You were
I,
roasting like a chicken, huh?
yeah, trust me. If you ask anyone who was there, they were in shock, they were in awe, and then they were scared for a bit because it felt like a long time. And then for many people, it did feel like a long time because I was on fire for a long time. I was the barricade and the ring were a very tight space. So when I was put through those chairs and I was burning, I was trying to sell it, but then after a while, it started getting hotter and hotter and hotter. So I think I just literally took the shirt off and threw it. I have no idea where it went. And then that old thing, oh man, it was crazy. And I remember the guys in the back were nervous. Everyone was nervous. Management, of course, when Joel was nervous, but like they say, I'm a tough boy, so
Did
I
you
was
did
doing
you
fine.
did you have to like go to the hospital for the burns or anything?
Nah, I'm not a fan of hospitals, but I was fine. I wasn't burned at all. They checked my back. I wasn't burned at all. It's just a shirt. I had two shirts on, so that protected me. But now I'm cool. I don't know, like you know me a little bit where I appreciate the art of deathmatch wrestling. I don't think it's just hitting people with light tubes and stuff. There's art to it. But
Wow.
after that, that's where the infamous Magma character came through. The Japanese killing machine. That's
I
where he came through.
I remember the first time I met you, I had to ring announce you. This was FTW a couple years back in Sacred Heart, and I remember I was like, yeah, man. So like, what's like we had never met before, been in the same circle. So I remember I was like, hey, man, what's your ring name? Where you from? He was like, yeah, Mount Fiji, and the Japanese killing machine, Magma. And we're in a church, and I'm like, can I say killing machine in in a church? But what was the inspiration behind that character, and what was the difference between Cholo and Magma?
Cholo was the like I said, the first iteration of what Adrian Santos was going to be because I realized Cholo and Magma together is Adrian Santos because Adrian Santos was the fighter in me that wanted to prove that he was the best and he was going to be the next big thing. And Magma is just a version because I love Japanese wrestling and the
Mm-hmm.
way the character came up was I really did inspire people like of course Great Muda with his face paint and his mist because I used to mist a lot of people in my
I
matches
I
when
remember.
when I was Magma. And that was another idea that Joel gave me. We were sitting down. I was like, all right, if we're gonna get rid of this of the Cholo gimmick, what do you want to do next? And then we were, giving ideas here and there. And then why don't you just be Magma, be Japanese, have face paint. We don't have a character like that. And I was thinking about it, and yeah, I really liked it. And I really meant that. I really was studying it. I really was trying to make it my own, and it worked because anyone who talks to me, they say like Magma was great. Magma was awesome because with Magma, that's where more character came out of me, and I really do appreciate that time because it was when I was 19, 20. That's where I was proving myself, and I did get rewards for proving myself because that's in that span of 2 years, that's where I got to wrestle some of my favorites. That's where I got to wrestle Chuck Taylor. That's where I got to wrestle Drew Gulak. That's where I got to wrestle Watanabe, who's known as Evil in New Japan. And the end, I got to wrestle Reefer. That's how me and Reefer got really close. And that's how me and Reefer are cool because we wrestled in a 5-way in my Magma gimmick, and we were cool ever since. Jigsaw, and then the last was Sammy Callahan. I got to wrestle Sammy Callahan. I remember with my Magma gimmick, I was like, because he was like fresh off NXT, and I knew Joel knew him because Callahan, I think I did 1 or 2 shows for him before he went to NXT. I was like, Joel, I know you got his contact. Let's get him. Let's get him. And then thankfully we got him. We got it for 2 shows. I wrestled him those 2 shows, and things were exactly the way I wanted to be, but it was still a great experience. And I got to win my first championship in wrestling. That was the Primero title. That was like our mid card title,
Okay.
and we had great. I had great memories with that being champion. That just shows that the company trusts you and thinks that you deserve this. So that was just great.
Out of all the matches that you had in the Magma gimmick, what was your favorite one?
My favorite one had to be Drew Gulak
Oh,
because
okay.
yeah, it's a tie between Gulak and Watanabe. but they're both very different matches, but they both mean a lot to me. It's because with Drew Gulak, the month prior to that, that's where I won the Premier title. I wrestled Blake Morris, guy from
Yep,
NYWC.
flawless Blake Morris.
Yeah, I wrestled him. He's a cool dude. I wrestled him a couple of times. He's a cool dude. Wrestled him and wrestled someone else. I forgot. Benny something, but sorry if I forgot his name. But we wrestled in the triple threat. I won the belt, and a lot of people were like, "No," like a lot of people saying like, "Oh, this guy doesn't deserve anything. Like the match wasn't that great or something." So I had to prove myself. And then when Joel told me he was going to bring in Drew Gulak for me, I was like, "All right, this could be a test." And that match was easy, but if you watch the match was like hard hitting because Drew Gulak, when we met each other, he just said, "What's your finisher?" I told him my finisher. I used the snowplow during that time. He was, "All right, cool. See you in the ring." We didn't say anything, and we
You guys
fought each other. You see that match? It's a real fight. We just, yeah. We didn't
called it in the ring, old school style, huh?
Yeah, and we just beat the crap out of each other. We said nothing. All I had to do was follow him. He was the vet, of course, and I was thankful that I hit my finisher on him. I won. That was my first defense, and then people saw that, yeah, I can hang. If I can hang with Drew Gulak, I'm pretty sure I'm good with anybody. And I still feel that way. I'm still good with anybody.
Okay. I remember, maybe I'm getting my years mixed up, but towards the end of 2018, like you made like a really cryptic post on social media, and the post, to paraphrase, was said something along the lines of they killed Magma. So, and then you popped up a couple months later as, Ecuadorian Nightmare Adrian Santos. What did you mean by they killed Magma? Like what, like explain that, because you and I have never like really talked about that, but like who killed Magma, or what killed Magma?
Everybody killed Magma. I killed him myself. I gave him the final blow because after 2015, when FSW folded, I was kind of like lost because I had like nobody. I had like no connection whatsoever. Everyone was just doing their own thing. And
so pretty much you were only working at Fighting Spirit at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At the time I was only doing Fighting Spirit. And then after Fighting Spirit ended, I did do a little bit of WXW C4 with Anawais. But then that ended, and then again I was like lost for like a year. I was like, I'm not booked anywhere. This Magma character, because after a while I was like just forcing it. And if you feel like you're forcing something, it's then that's not going to work because it's not organic. When something's natural to you, then it works for you. You don't have to do anything. But after a while, Magma kept feeling it was forced. I had to do this, that. I was like, I'm done with this. It's going to be a new me. I think the last ever Magma match, like proper Magma match, was that death match I did myself, Joey Tell, and Casanova Valentine in Tender Trap, that no ring death match things that he was doing in the beginning. That was the last Magma match ever. And me being an idiot, I didn't even put on face paint on. I just went out with the Magma gear and was like, you know what? That probably that's how unmotivated I was as Magma. I was like, I'm not even gonna put face paint on. I really don't care. So like after that point, it's like Magma's not gonna be around anymore. So that's why I needed to reinvent. I needed to really find who I was. And then I saw Adrian Santos. I came in with the name because Adrian's my real middle name.
Mm-hmm.
And then Santos, being ironic, I get in the ring. My last name is Santos, meaning saints, but I'm just like the biggest dickhead in the world and will knock your head off. So I felt that worked out. And with Ecuadorian Nightmare, because listen to me, right? Have you ever heard of an Ecuadorian professional wrestler?
No, not that I can recall.
Exactly. See, there is no Ecuadorian professional wrestlers out there. And I feel like it's my responsibility to be not only the leader and a role model to any other Ecuadorian professional wrestlers out there, but I want to show that I'm the best one to do it. And if I can do that on American soil and just prove that me being Ecuadorian shows that not only am I the best, I can do everything. I can do any style. I can talk on the mic, and I will just show that I'm the best out there by far.
Gotcha. Have you wrestled in Ecuador by any chance?
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna get to that where I actually have a pretty long history at in Ecuador where it was when was WrestleMania 29? That was in New York, right?
Yeah, no, yeah,
20,
29 was MetLife Stadium, yeah, New York, yeah.
yeah. So there was this guy because there was this guy. He is from Ecuador. He is a promoter and I think part owner of like the biggest company in Ecuador called War. It's called Wrestling something Revolution. It's a company in Ecuador that's based in Quito. They have television. They have big stars there. Like they bring in some big names when they get the chance. Like I think they had like big shows. Like they involved Ricochet, Blue Demon Jr., all of them. And the guy who ran it, he goes to every single mania, wherever it is in the States. He goes to every single mania. That's his thing. And then he saw that he wanted to wrestle too. So he saw that there was a local promotion, and then he came to us. He did a match, and then I spoke to Joel to tell him to speak to Oliver. Let me go to Quito and wrestle for you, wrestle for your company. And he said, "Yeah, sure, come on." And so when I got to Ecuador, I got on a bus, an 8-hour bus ride from where I'm staying at, 8-hour bus ride with the bathroom broken. Oh God, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But I got there because the call time was, kid you not, 8 in the morning.
8 in the morning. I've never wrestled on a show with, well, not wrestled, but I've never commentated or ref the show that that started at 8 a.m. That's crazy.
The reason why call time was 8 a.m. is because they do long TV tapings.
Oh,
They usually
so what do they do? They tape like a month's worth of programming in one day?
Yeah,
Okay.
because everything was like 4 hours, and you would think that like I would think like who's gonna come to a show at 8 in the morning to watch people wrestle for 4 hours? And kid you not, I mean, they had like the studio could fit like I think it was like 40, 50 people, and they had 40, 50 people.
Wait,
So
it was in a TV studio.
it was a TV studio.
So it's like similar, like I don't know if you've seen it, but like it's similar like NWA Power, where they like have like the ring in the TV studio.
Yeah, it was like
small crowd. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it was like that. It was definitely like that. And I got in there. It looked awesome. I have a picture on my Facebook, I think, probably years ago. If I got to find it, but it's there. It looks really professional. It was really cool done. Even Hugo Savinovich was there. Remember that SmackDown announcer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was also like a part owner of that.
Wow.
Of that. Yeah, because it's embarrassing how it took me so many years to find out he's Ecuadorian too. So he was there. I was there, and it was crazy how I walked into the locker room, bunch of guys there, and back then when I was like 18, honestly, my Spanish sucked. I was like, crap, how am I gonna call matches in Spanish? And like read, because they had like professionally, like they had like match cards and they had like specific things like you wanted to do.
Right.
Like, damn, how am I gonna... But luckily I pulled through. There were some guys that actually spoke like broken English, so like that was fine.
Oh, so you're not fluent in Spanish?
No, like now I'm a little bit better. I'm like 85% at best.
Right.
If I get booked to Mexico or any other places, yeah, I could handle myself. I can handle myself. But back to that, I wrestled the same guy twice because again, like they didn't know who I was. So I even wrestled in a different gimmick. I wasn't Cholo. I was called the Brooklyn Brawler.
Who was that? Your idea, or they told you to be that?
They said it. They said it.
Okay.
They said it. And I cut a promo as like the Brooklyn Brawler. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll stand the Brooklyn Brawler for two matches. And I think you can find it on YouTube. But but it was okay. The matches were fine. Again, I was only like, I want to say less than a year in wrestling, and I was like, this is so cool. I got to wrestle in my home country in front of some family that came with me to in Ecuador. And then 2 years after that, I wrestled for another company Luckily, it was close to where I am, and it was a triple threat. Uh, it was a triple threat. Fans bring the weapons match
Wow.
for their for a company called Revolution of Wrestling, Row, and it was for their hardcore belt. They call it the No PG belt, which I
Hmm.
think it was hilarious, and I won that. I was like, okay, yeah.
Oh,
They
you
said
went
like,
you
yeah,
went
you can win it.
went
It's fine.
went to Ecuador overseas and won a title.
Yeah, I was like, that's crazy, and I still have the belt to this day because I told him, "Are you sure? Because I'm not from Ecuador. I come here every like 2 years. Unless you want me to hold the belt for 2 years." He's like, "Yeah, go ahead. That's fine." And then I found out that like the company folded like 6 months after I left. So I was like, "Whatever. I'm the last champ. I still have the belt right here." And
Wow.
then 2 years after that, as Magma, because I was Magma when I won that belt. And then 2 years later, for another company called Cell, which is a Consejo Ecuatoriano de Lucha Libre, which is
Hmm.
basically like CML, but replace the M with the E.
Right.
And then I wrestled twice there on the same card. I wrestled this dude named Dark Loco, like a Joker gimmick, and then I wrestled their heavyweight champ. In a losing effort, of course, because I'm not from there, but it was still
Right.
a good match. And it was funny how I even got to do a like a mini seminar there too, because it's unfortunate that a lot of the wrestlers there are almost like self-trained. Like
Right.
even the promoter told me the last time I wrestled in Ecuador, the promoter told me like a lot of these guys are like self-taught, like they just watch the videos on YouTube and then like kind of try to copy it. And so
Wow.
I was like, oh, that's kind of unsafe. So I did like a mini seminar for like 2 hours, just doing drills and talking to them and being real with them and like saying, hey, if I was doing an example, like remember that Cruiserweight Classic when that dude from Chile participated?
Yep.
I was like, I never even heard of wrestling in Chile. So if that dude can make it, anyone can make it. You just got to work hard and figure out how to do things.
So let me ask you this. So in Ecuador, it's not like here where there's like 5 or 6 wrestling schools in a town. So I'm assuming they have no wrestling schools, or do they have one that's just really expensive?
Uh, like I said, right now the only spot is another company called that's on the almost professional state. It's another company called Aggression. That's the English translation, Aggression Inc. And they train. I've seen them. I've talked because I know a couple guys that are wrestlers there, and they do the stuff. They train like most people, but that's only like one wrestling school in the whole city of Waikiki. That's like saying there's only one wrestling school in all of New York City.
Right.
So it's comparing to that, and like the only other big company is in all the way in Quito, which is like 8 hours away, and then that's it because wrestling's not really known in
It,
Ecuador. Like
it's not
the only
big.
yeah, it's not big. Like the only time you hear wrestling in Ecuador is when WWE comes every
And they come
every
like once a year for like 2 days.
yeah, exactly, and then like that's it because like wrestling's not as popular in Ecuador, so that's the thing.
Right. All right. Well, uh your latest gimmick, Adrian Santos, the Ecuadorian Nightmare. I mean, I've seen you in SWF, the short-lived A2F, Titan, a couple different places. What do you have any favorite matches as Adrian Santos or not yet?
As Adrian Santos, mm, I mean, a nice match was when again you refer to A2F and SWF when I wrestled uh who's
Was
this
it
guy?
Jay Akira?
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry about Jay Akira. Yeah. That was fun because me personally, I mean I can go house to house with any like big guy, but I really much prefer the big man small guy
Hmm.
matches because those are really fun. He can bounce all over me and I can just take him down. So I really love those guys. And when I wrestled Jay, those were fun matches because he really appreciated um the status that I was. So he really listened to me. I gave him some stuff that he looked good, and we really did work together. But besides that, I feel like I haven't gotten the opportunity just yet to say that there was a amazing Adrian Santos match yet. because that's where I'm gonna get to later. Where I feel like I haven't gotten the opportunity yet, or the shot to really get a good match with someone that I know that I could get a good match with. It's just the nature of the business where like just stuff happens.
Right. And speaking of that, um, so we had spoke offline when I hit you up to do the interview, and you've made some Facebook posts in the past that have alluded to this, but you seem a bit frustrated in the current landscape of tri-state New York, New Jersey independent wrestling. The last time I saw you was at SWF. You had that series, not SWF, sorry, Titan
Yo,
Championship Wrestling, yeah, where you had that series of matches with Chris Barton, which I thought were actually pretty good, and I thought you were going to debut a new character because you broke the face paint back out. So I thought, I thought maybe Santos might be dying and Magma would rise from the grave, and I kind of got excited, but then you come back to the next show and you're nowhere to be found and haven't been seen since. So my question to you is like, what's going on with you? I know you said there were things that you had to say that might ruffle some feathers. So I'll give you the floor.
well, when it came to that, again, nothing against Barton. He's a cool guy. Him and his group with like Dom and Gabe and all that stuff. Actually, that's where they actually kind of, I want to say they kind of helped me bring me back from the dead, is because after going back to saying that triple threat no ring death match I had, I felt like that was it for me. Where I felt like I try to go other places, it's not working out. I have nowhere to go. So I figured, you know what? Let me just hang up the boots. And this was back then. But then they helped me, motivate myself and tell me, hey, why don't you wrestle wrestle with us? And that's where, I got, motivation back. And that's where I started developing the Adrian Santos character where it was. But when it came to Titan and when it came to Barton, again, nothing against the guy, but I just feel like there wasn't, like, as I say, chemistry. Like the matches were great, other people say, but like I just didn't feel that spark. When you're a competitor and you have that spark with someone you're gonna have a great match with, you
Yeah.
just know. And others you try, but it fails. And unfortunately with Barton, it failed. I know other guys, like I'll name drop, like I can have an amazing match with Azrael. That I'll be honest. As Magma, besides Gulak and Watanabe, with Azrael. Me and Azrael wrestled once, and we still talk about how great that match was. That match is easily you could find online, and that match was insane. That match was awesome. I really love that match. So me and Azrael can have a match anytime, anywhere, and we could kill it. Same with Sebastian Cage. Same with Gabe. Same with a couple other guys, but with others you don't have chemistry. So and with me wanting to develop and wanting to be something different, because now in wrestling everyone wants to be the tough work shoot guy that wants to talk trash and say some little truths in here and there. It's now becoming boring. It's now becoming where everyone wants to do that, and it's going to get annoying after a while. So what you saw on that show, and I'm kind of happy where half the crowd left after intermission, because it was a long show. You remember that? That was a long show.
I remember, yeah.
And then we were after, I think we were 2 matches after intermission. And then I wanted this character because I called him the Deicide. He's an alter ego of Adrian Santos. And to basically say it, simple as possible, think of the Fiend, but my version of the Fiend,
Right.
with face paint and all that. But certain backstage people didn't agree with my image or didn't give me the chance to show my image, resulted into Barton defeating the Deicide and me getting pissed off, where I feel like if it's going to be like this, and if I'm going to keep on, sure, who cares about wins or losses? It's the story that matters. But if you're not going to let me tell my story the way it should be, because I know for a fact my story will tell, because if I tell my story to other people, they're like, oh, this is awesome, you should definitely do it. But if the higher ups don't think it, then what am I supposed to do? It's just an idea in my head that no one's gonna see. So if Titan doesn't appreciate that, then what's the point in going back? So I'm not going back.
Understood. And like you said, you have the greatest idea in the world, but you know, if the guy who's putting pen to paper and writing the card doesn't see it, then and never uses it, then you know, what can you do? Um, are you working anywhere currently? Because I haven't like seen it. I haven't seen you like advertise for anything the last few months. So do you have any matches coming up?
Yeah, right now, I'm working. I'm gonna work for this company called ACW.
Mhm.
It's for Coliseum Wrestling in upstate New
That's
York. Like,
that's going to be in the Palisades Mall, right?
there you go. Yeah, yeah,
You know, it's funny. I've done shows in Canada. I've done shows in all these different places. You know, all of us have like worked the world famous Elks Lodge by now, but you know,
yeah.
I've never done a show in a mall. You got to tell me how that goes, man, because
Oh yeah,
that
definitely.
sounds exciting.
I never wrestled in the mall either. I saw like clips of their last show when they did it there. I was like, oh, it's just so good. This basically you could have a large crowd for free as long as the promoter pays you. That's fine because that all everyone's just to keep walking around and like that's gonna be crazy. So
Have you ever
all
been in
that's
that? Have you ever been in that mall before?
no, no, never been there. Never been there.
I'm gonna tell you
Never
this
been
from
there.
now. That mall is huge. I've been there about 4 or 5 times. That mall is huge, bro. So if people start gathering around, you may get a crowd ringside. You may look up as a crowd on the second deck. Like that mall is huge. So you gotta let me know how it is. I know you're gonna enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be there on the 5th and 26th. And as of now, unfortunately, that's it for me. As of now, I'm just trying to get my name out there, do everything. Right now, in recent times, I just wrestle for a test of strength whenever I get the chance.
That's up in Connecticut, right?
Yeah, that's Connecticut. Yeah, that's Texas test of strength in Connecticut. I was there last month actually, and earlier this month, and I was wrestling for the K1 Classic Championship. And that match was awesome and fun. And the way I see it now is, and the reason why I have these posts now everywhere I can, is that if you're not going to give me an opportunity, that I'm going to make my own opportunity. Because as they say, everyone talks about the forbidden door now. And for me, it seems the forbidden door is getting stronger and stronger. It's not made out of wood anymore. It's made out of steel. So just knocking it down doesn't work. Not even putting a baseball bat or an axe through it is not working. So you got to make a bigger noise. And I'm just trying to do that. I'm trying to make the biggest noise possible where someone will eventually open the door for me and we'll say, okay, I know what your character is. I know what you're going to do. And I know that you're going to be a star. I know you're going to make me money. And yeah, that's what we want.
Right. And for all the promoters out there listening, or anybody who has the power to book a card, I've refed Adrian Santos matches. I've commentated a couple of Adrian Santos matches. The guy's good. He's a technically good wrestler. So, you know, he's a good hand. He could be a good hand for your card and for your show, man. So
Say that, right? I wish a lot of other promoters thought that way because you don't know how many times, and it's almost getting annoying to me where other people that wrestle that I see in shows, and then they see me either behind the stage or I just talk to them whenever I'm somewhere else. They'll be like, "Hey, why aren't you here? Why aren't you there? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?" I'm trying. I'm really trying. But nowadays, especially like you mentioned before, the tri-state area, right? Especially in Jersey, it's almost becoming poisonous, where it's like all you see is the same people over and over and over again.
New York 2.0.
Exactly, it's New York too. When New York died, Jersey became New York, and
Yeah, because
maybe
all the New York people that used to work the Elks Lodge every week cross the state line.
exactly. So now Jersey is becoming New York 2.0, and maybe even Jersey wrestling's gonna die. Where that's why everyone wants to go somewhere else, do other things, because now more than ever, people get noticed. People get noticed. You could do the smallest shows ever. You could do the biggest shows ever. Someone is going to notice you saying, "Hey, I think you're good. Let's take you to the next level. Let's make you do this and that. And I truly believe I can do that because if I talk, I can talk to anyone and I can do anything. And if I have an opponent with me, I literally study them everywhere. I know, I see how they wrestle, I see how they talk, and I'd be like, all right, I know how to get in their head. I know how to beat them. I know how to do this and that. And it's simple. It's gonna be, I know for a fact that sooner or later, my mission is to, as I said before, I'm gonna take out everybody. Adrian Santos is going to burn everything to the ground. I'm going to take out all the vets that refuse to lace up their boots and finally stay in their homes so they can rest in peace.
Oh my
And I'm going
goodness.
to take out the young guys who think that just because they learned a move or two that they could be on the top of the card right now. And I've seen so many guys that are absolute shit. And it's just annoying. It really is. It's just embarrassing how just because either they're friends with the promoters or they're buddies with the top guy that they think that they can get a shot. And then they just overlook me. So I refuse that. I'm going to take out absolutely everyone. And where Adrian Santos is the only one left, and then it's going to be that way forever.
Well,
Where it's just
ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here
Adrian
first.
Santos, and that's it.
Adrian Santos saying he's not gonna be the friend of a promoter. He's not gonna sell tickets. He's not doing any of that to get the spot on the show.
My job is to walk in, fight whoever I need to fight, grab my envelope, and get out. That's who Adrian Santos is. And make sure I leave my legacy behind. Because I know my legacy is unlike anyone else's. And that's what's gonna bring me to the promised land, as they say.
Yeah, and like I said, you have my full endorsement. Like I said, I've refereed some of your matches. I've commentated some of them. You're a good wrestler, bro. And like I said, for any promoter that might be watching this, give this man a call, shoot him a DM. He's a veteran and a solid hand, and he's technically sound wrestler. You know, Adrian Santos match, you're not going to see a lot of flips out. You may not see any flips out of the guy, but you get good technical wrestling and a power game and a ground and pound game. So, yeah, man, you got my full vote of confidence.
Promoters, you hear that? You hear that, promoters? Listen, if you're not going to listen to me, listen to someone like Alfred. Great referee, great commentator.
Thank you.
Guy knows his stuff.
Yeah, man. Anything you want to say in closing before we wrap this up?
My message is simple. I remember looking into 2022 where I was like, all right, it's 10 years now, and I feel like if nothing's gonna happen, then I might as well hang it up myself because I'm tired of all the, as I say, the politics and all that stuff. But then, you know, I keep looking at what wrestling is now, and that just motivates me. Like, there's so many things that I can do better than what I see people doing on TV or in big indie feds or even the small indie feds. I feel like I can do a lot better. So that's why I feel like, you know what? And technically, I'm still young. I mean, I started at 17. I'm 27 now. And I feel like I could
10
still
years
go.
experience.
Exactly. I feel like I could still go. And I'm going to keep going until I really can't anymore. And if my lasting legacy is that Adrian Santos is the best or should have been here, well, scratch that. I don't want that. I don't want people saying, hey, Adrian Santos could have been this. I want people to say Adrian Santos is the best at this.
And we did that trifecta tryout back in April of 2019, bro. You showed a lot of, it's crazy. You showed a lot of people what you can do, and you know, and
yeah, that trifecta thing. Yeah, that was crazy.
You had a good showing at that tryout, and still, you know, it's unfortunate, but hopefully the bookings pick up for you. Where can fans and promoters and anybody find you at on social media?
Facebook, Adrian Santos. You'll see me with the half face paint, honoring Magma and potentially honoring if the time is right for the inner monster of Adrian Santos comes out once again. Instagram, it's Adrian Santos Nightmare. And I just opened a Twitter. I thought I would never do it, but I just opened a Twitter. That's Adrian Santos EN.
Okay, so you got his social media, ladies and gentlemen. Give the man a follow. He's a good guy, a good friend of mine. And again, if you're booking a show or you got a spot open, give this man a call, shoot him a DM because the guy's a good worker. He got my stamp of approval. So
Thank you, thank you.
All right, man. So it was good. It was good talking to you, and I hope to see you at a show somewhere around the way.
I hope to see you too.
All right, bro.
All right, take care.